Okay, let the fight begin. Hey guys, Dr. Bobby Striker here with Flow Physique Factory, and yes, we've got a completely different setup. I've got an old mic out. You can't imagine the amount of hassle we've had in the last couple of videos. The mic died, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, and Jules had a real nightmare putting everything together and producing videos that you can still kind of watch. Anyhow, so got a different setup, the camera's kind of closer, we're still kind of learning this whole YouTube thing, so hopefully this is going to be a better viewing experience for all of you. Now you can see my face really close up. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about some stuff that's been happening in the kind of fitness, social media scene, basically involving two people. Greg Ducette, he's a Canadian bodybuilder. He's very famous, very vocal, very outspoken, and often actually he speaks a lot of sense. And he was talking about a South Korean celebrity, Jong-Kook, which a lot of you will probably recognize. He's famous for his variety show performance in The Running Man, and he's a big celebrity. And he recently started his own YouTube channel, started sharing his workout routines and stuff, his fitness-focused material. And then people started to ask, is he natural or not? This is something that Greg often talks about. I'm familiar with both of these characters. So Greg, he does a lot of shouting and is very loud. A lot of people feel he sounds like the parrot out of Aladdin.
I can't believe it. I just don't believe it. We're never going to get a hold of that stupid lead.
But he does actually talk a lot of sense a lot of the time.
For most people, 95% of the people watching this video right now train harder than last time.
Now, he does these videos called Natty or not, meaning is someone natural or not. So there's a lot of people in the fitness scene. They look great, have the rippling six-pack and muscles, and then they claim to be natural, and sometimes they're not. And Greg does these videos not to kind of spread hate or create malice or ill feelings or anything like that, but just to create awareness and spread kind of more realistic body image standards. So people are aware, okay, is this realistic? Is this achievable or not? Because, people kind of have been conditioned to think that this is the ideal look for men and women. But often this look that people are aspiring to achieve is not realistically possible, especially if you don't use what we call PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. And often it can be very difficult to spot a person who is using PEDs. They're not always going to be huge, giant, incredible Hulk-like muscle manias, So often it will just be the person we want to look like. And it's actually very, very common in Hollywood, the movie industry. Not just Hollywood, pretty much any movie industry, if it's well established, whether it's Hollywood or Bollywood, you name it. The top guys who are in crazy shape, like The Rock or Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, they are likely not natural. Now, I'm not saying this to make people upset, because a lot of the diehard fans, I love these guys, I love these movies, and a lot of people watching this will be thinking, oh my God, this is outrageous, this is not possible. But unfortunately, for The Rock, once you get into that upper ages, 50, 60, if you're still in crazy shape and you just look better and better, getting bigger and bigger muscles, especially for men, you do have to start asking the question, maybe this guy's not natural. They will likely never admit it, because remember, in a lot of parts of the world, it's illegal. So you're going to get into a lot of trouble if you start to say, hey guys, look, yeah, I've been doing drugs, I've been juicing all along. And it would ruin their careers. And for a lot of the public, ignorance is kind of bliss. People kind of really prefer not to know. And that's why a lot of people then get disappointed when they go to the gym, they want to get into shape and look like their idols and their heroes, and they can't get there. And the missing element often is PEDs, okay? Now, Jong-Kook, forgive me if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. Of course, he's famous for The Running Man, and he looks great. he looks great. He's always looked great. I'm a big fan of Korean TV and movies, and I've been a fan for ages. Going back to 2001 when I first saw My Sassy Girl, then there's Old Boy, and you got it, the TV shows, My Love from Another Star, Goblin, and of course recently Squid Game is taking the world by storm. And I'm familiar with the bands. Astro, yeah, I know Astro. BTS, Blackpink, I know all this stuff. I'm not that old, okay? But I'm going to talk to you about a 2006 movie that I bought. A friend recommended it to me. It's called 200 Pounds Beauty. And what it's basically about, it's a little bit cringe if you think about it. It's about a woman who's obese and she goes through extreme crazy plastic surgery to become unbelievably beautiful, and then the kind of funny stuff that goes on from that. And it's a romantic comedy, and it kind of plays with the social standards there. The reason why I mention it is because when I bought the DVD, there was actually a card inside the DVD for a plastic surgeon clinic. Yeah, and that was actually in the DVD as part of their advertising. And this leads us to plastic surgery in Korea as a whole. It's huge, okay? And, there's articles online where they even say it's a common graduation gift. And some sources of research and evidence show that up to 31% of women between the ages of 30 to 39 have had some form of plastic surgery. And that's within the general kind of average population in South Korea. So imagine if you're a celebrity in this place and you have to be even better looking. You have to be extremely outstanding and look absolutely amazing. The pressure to look amazing is going to be intense. Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. And remember, all your pictures, your videos, everything, it's going to be immortalized on film. People literally refer to you as an idol. And then now think that you're an aging guy, you're in your 40s, you're kind of famous as the guy who's always muscular and fit. But remember, for a man, as you kind of get through your mid-30s, your hormone, testosterone hormone, will start to drop, which makes it much, much harder to put on muscle. And pair that with someone who's been working out for a long, long time. If you're an experienced gym goer, an experienced lifter, you kind of start to get diminishing returns. You kind of max out your genetic potential. So it's not like you keep lifting and you just keep getting bigger and bigger. That's not possible. What actually happens is after your mid-30s, when you start to get into your 40s, you will find it much, much harder to put on size, to put on muscle. And if you're unlucky, you might actually start to lose muscle, especially if you do not keep up your training. So when you factor all of these things, your hormones changing, losing size, and you want to kind of keep up with the younger celebrities who are up and coming, that temptation to kind of jump on that performance-enhancing drug bandwagon, you can imagine it's going to be quite high. Some people, so basically, Greg Ducette, he concluded his video thinking that if he had to choose, if he had a gun to his head, he would put his money on the bet that he thinks this guy is not natural, that Kim Jong-Kook is probably on some kind of performance-enhancing drug. And of course, his diehard fans in South Korea were in uproar about this and said, who's this guy? He doesn't know what he's talking about. And, there's no truth to it. So what's the reality? And some said, there's no drugs available in Korea. Actually, any country that has IFBB Pros, International Federation of Bodybuilder Pros. They've got their pro card. These are professional bodybuilders and they've got their IFBB Pro card. Any country that has this standard of bodybuilders, they have access to drugs. Yeah, that's the truth. I would guess that 90 to 100% of IFBB Pros are on some form of performance-enhancing drug. And it's not always steroids. People always think, he's not abusing steroids. And some of these guys will say, I've never touched steroids. And they're not lying because they're actually using other things. There's SARMs, there's Rad 140, Osterine, and there's all kinds of crap. There's so many things out there that people can be using. And there are people using it even where I am in Singapore, where drugs and things are very strictly controlled. And, it was touched on by the news, I think, quite a few years back, but it's everywhere. Everywhere you are in the world, people can access this stuff. So saying that, South Korea, no one can get it, and it's impossible. That's not the case. If someone really wanted to, they can get their hands on all this stuff. And then so Kim Jong-Kook, he found this whole quite amusing. He said, look, I'll do a drug test. I'll prove I'm natural. And everyone's like, yeah, that's it. You can't beat a drug test. Well, you can. And that's why it makes it almost impossible to know when someone's natural or not. If you come off your drugs and you're smart and savvy about it, it's going to be out of your system, possibly sometimes within a few weeks. And you do the blood test and the drug screens, and they'll come out negative. Yeah. The only way for someone to prove that they are truly natural is for them to agree to doing random blood tests unannounced, so they can be caught off guard, and there's no way they can stop in time and prepare or anticipate when the test might be, and do this for a few years. And that, who's going to do that? 1 or 2 blood tests alone doesn't really prove whether someone's natural or not. And so that's why he said, okay, I'll do some blood tests and I'll prove I'm natural. He may show that he's natural at that point in time when the blood test was done, but you can't really prove whether if at some point he was on something or not. And if a guy in his 40s keeps getting bigger, putting on more muscles, keeps getting fitter, and achieves levels of fitness unlike before, you do have to wonder, okay, maybe this guy isn't natural. And then you can look at the training methods. Unusual training methods are always a weird one. So a lot of the Hollywood guys, when they're approached and they're asked, how did you get into shape? And they'll be like, yeah, I got up at 4 a.m. I worked out for 6 hours. That makes zero sense, okay? There are actual, there's research and protocols and all kinds of stuff, and the research is pretty clear that to optimize your training, to maximize muscle hypertrophy, for muscle growth and really look great, you need to train your body parts twice per week, aiming to do about 10 to 20 sets per muscle, so per body part, and don't work out the same body part within 24 hours. These are the protocols for optimal muscle growth. And that kind of equates to workouts which are pretty short and intense, up to like maybe 40, 50 minutes to an hour. So when someone says, I'm working out 2 to 4 hours and I'm working out doing this and that, that's actually going to be detrimental. You will tear away more muscle. And then if you're going to train that same body part again within the week, you're probably not allowing adequate time for muscle recovery. The muscle is still going to be damaged from the last workout. And then you work out again, you work it out while it's still damaged, you'll tear it down even further, and you'll actually hinder your muscle growth. So when people say these bizarre statements, I work out 6 hours a week, 100 hours a day, or whatever nonsense, again, these are sometimes alarm bells. A lot of celebrities will often use these kind of lines, how do you get into shape? I work out 10 hours a day. It's just not feasible unless they are saying the drive to the gym, working out, the drive home, eating, the shower, the sleep is all part of their workout, which I don't think is what they're talking about. So again, if people say that they're working out these kind of crazy durations, it also sometimes suggests that they are not natural. So my opinion as a doctor, final bottom line, Kim Jong-Kook, is he natural or not? Possibly. I'm going to end on this really vague note. He's possibly natural. He's not as colossal, huge as some of the other guys out there. He possibly is a little bit smaller than he was before. But end of the day, we'll never know. Only he himself will know. No matter what tests he does, he can't prove for sure that he's not natural. And that's okay, His career is made, on the foundation of his physique and his looks. And, you're going to be, most of you, if someone approached you and said, look, you can be a celebrity, we'll pay you $1 million, and you got to look amazing, would you do something to make sure you look amazing and you can get that money? A lot of you would probably do it. And the reason a lot of you won't tell people is because you know the backlash and how society views all of this stuff. So is Kim Jong-Kook natural? Possibly, but there is that chance he might not be. People might not like the idea that their idol and their hero might not be natural, but that doesn't change the fact that they might not be. Okay, guys, so I hope you found that interesting. Food for thought, okay? If you have this guy you always look up to, he might not be natural. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try your best to be your own best self. Okay, guys, take it easy, stay safe. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, subscribe, and all that great stuff. Follow us on our social media channels, and we'll see you all at the next video. Don't be late for your appointment. Bye, guys.